Hey everybody, Rob Ryder, Thursday, March 8th, 2012. I'm going to show you something that's really interesting here. This is an act in Michigan called Registration of Names of Farms, and you can see the history is 1941, Act 35, effective January 10th, 1942. Really interesting look at this. So this is what it looks like when they give it to you. You know, standard stuff. Not a very long act. It didn't take long for you to give away your farm, as you're about to see. Let's look at it when you change it a little bit. Okay, so this little act, it said, Act 35, 1941, an act to provide for the registration of the names of farms and to declare the effect thereof, to provide for the transfer of title thereto, transfer of title of the farm, to prescribe the powers and duties of the Commissioner of Agriculture. Well, guess what? It's going to agriculture. And to prescribe penalties for violation of provisions of this act. I don't think we got the memo. Farm names, registration, use by others prohibited. Any owner of a farm in this state may have the name of his farm together with the legal description of lands to which such name applies, recorded in the register kept for that purpose in the office of the Commissioner of Agriculture of this state. Well, where's the Commissioner of Agriculture at? And the Commissioner of Agriculture shall furnish such landowner with proper certificate, setting forth such names and legal descriptions of the lands. So if you want to know what the legal description to your body is, it's going to be on that. Provided, however, that after the farm name has been recorded and remains uncancelled, so as long as it's recorded, registered, the same name or one nearly like it as to produce confusion shall not be accepted and recorded by the Commissioner of Agriculture for any other farm in the same county as the land for which this name was first recorded. So if it's already recorded, you can't use the same name in the same county, nor the land situate in any other county in the state unless the name of such other county shall be added as part of the name of such farm, and even when used in connection with the name of the county, such name may be used but once in each once in such other counties. I think what they're saying is your family name is a county, and you could add your mother and father's name, last names, or each county's, to get a name that hasn't been used in the register so that they can get your name in there. They're going to do whatever they can. If by chance were two Robert Allen Ritlewskis in the same county, that ain't going to happen, right? But there is another one. So if the name was exactly the same, then they would add the mother's name to this registration. What's the chances of people having exactly the same name in the same county? Farm names registration procedure, multiple applications for same name. Just real quick. So I don't know that this is saying that your family name is a county, or by adding this that way within the county that you live. If you had your mother's and father's names, chances are there's nobody else in the county with the exact same name as you. Maybe that's all it's saying. It don't matter. In the event two or more farm owners, so farm owner, you're a farm owner, shall apply for registration of their farms under the same name when you get married, on or prior to the effective date of the act, upon same day at any time thereafter, the Commissioner shall require that such applicant's proof as to which began the use of such farm name first, and if satisfactory proof thereof obtained by the Commissioner, he shall grant registration to the one using such name. So what paper must you have when you get married? If such satisfactory proof is not furnished, he shall deny registration to all such applications until the names are sufficiently changed as to be distinguished from each other without confusion. Isn't that nice of them? They're going to help you. Farm names, registration application forms, and fee. Any person desiring to have the name of his farm so recorded shall apply for such record upon a form to be adopted and supplied by the Commissioner of Agriculture, and shall pay the Commissioner of Agriculture a recording fee of $1. You just gave your farm away for $1. You're going to give them rights, title, and interest, or a part of it. Or did we really give them $1? Show me the fucking receipt. I don't think it happened. So anyways, what has just happened, when you register something, it gets filed. Filed means to be deposited. Deposited means when it's deposited, the depositary now has an equitable mortgage over the property, simply because you agreed to have it registered / filed, which means to be deposited, which means by definition, if deposited, the person it's deposited with now has an equitable mortgage over the property. That gives him legal title. That's why you don't want the shit registered. It's been deposited for $1, if even that. And so, one of the things to be checking on. Transfer of registration upon conveyance of farm. Notice rights under name. When the owner of any farm, the name of which has been recorded as provided in this act, transfers title, well, that's what they're having you do, whether by deed, inheritance, or otherwise, or the whole of such farm, such transfer shall include the registration name thereof. So if you're giving the whole farm away, it's going to include the registration name. But if such transfer be a portion of said farm only, the registered name thereof shall not be transferred to the purchaser or the heir unless stated in the conveyance. So I don't know who the purchaser is. Who are they talking about? Who's purchasing your farm? And how do they get the right to buy it? Notice such transfer may be recorded by application to the commissioner, a payment of the fee of 50 cents. Notice such transfer. Notice a such transfer may be recorded by application to the Commissioner of Agriculture, and the payment of a fee of 50 cents. So the notice of the transfer costs 50 cents. But if the transfer be for a portion of the said farm only, the registered name therefore shall not be transferred to the purchaser nor heir unless so stated in the conveyance. Okay. So this is all the hidden shit in any kind of paperwork we're doing, that somehow we're giving away a portion of the farm on all of these things we get involved in. So they think. When the owner of any farm who has registered the name of his farm as provided in this act shall use such name as the proprietary name of the transaction of business relating to the said farm, he shall have all rights and privileges. Didn't say rights, titles, and interests, just all rights and privileges under the registered name, as the owner would have had used his personal name, and shall have the same standing in any court of the state. So they're taking your all capital letter name, landed estate, and they're registering it as a farm, and now it's been registered. And so if the all capital letter name shows up on something, you're doing it under the farm name, not under your personal name. And therefore, as the owner, now you only have rights and privileges under the registered name, whatever the conditions of the registered name was. We've given away the title and interest because it's been registered, which means to be filed, which means to be deposited. And deposited means that you've agreed to let somebody have an equitable mortgage over your property. And an equitable mortgage gives the person holding the deposit legal title. All we need to do is tell them we want to take it out of deposit. What is the procedure to undeposit the land? Let's find out. Oh, cancellation of registration. The owner of any farm the name of which is so registered, may cancel such registration upon notice in writing to the Commissioner of Agriculture, accompanied by a fee of 50 cents. You can get it back for 50 cents. All applications for registration, notice of transfer, and notices of cancellation shall be acknowledged under oath and shall be executed before 2 witnesses. Must be done in common law. They're using acknowledgments, not affidavits. See, when you acknowledge something, you're doing it of your free will, act, and deed, and because you know your free will, you're already conscious before the Creator. You don't need to take an oath. That's my opinion. That's why I don't take an oath. I just do an acknowledgement. I'll do an asseveration, but I don't need to take an oath. I'm always before the Creator. In fact, I'm happy to call Him in to stand and witness to our deeds. I wonder if they are. Fees received under Act deposited in general fund. So all fees received by the Commissioner of Agriculture hereunder shall be transmitted to the state treasurer, who shall credit the same to the general fund of the state. Now they keep using the small s state, and that's us. You know, the state of Michigan is capital S. Corporation is all capitalized. Small state, small anything, lowercase, is talking about the man, in my opinion. So if we want to unregister our land to cancel it, we need to do basically, the owner of any farm, the name of which is so registered, may cancel such registration upon notice in writing to the Commissioner of Agriculture, accompanied by a fee of 50 cents. Now, they didn't say which Commissioner of Agriculture, so in every county, at least here in Michigan, they have I believe a farm commissioner. I'd have to go look. I don't know what all the commissioners do. And that would be tied into the state, which is tied into the, they're all tied together. But I'd be asking some serious questions. In fact, it's one of the things on my list to do now that I've pondered this a little bit more. And finally, use of registered name by others, penalties, civil action. After any farm name has been duly registered, as herein provided, and while the same remains uncancelled, no one shall advertise, whether in trade journals, newspapers, or otherwise, any livestock, whether for sale, trade, or services, nor any farm crops or produce under the said farm name, except the owner of the farm name, which is so recorded, now his tenant, agent, or employee. You used to be just the owner and you just picked up some helpers. You got a tenant, an agent, an employee, and they can put it under, and they can sell it. Where's my rent? Nor shall any livestock or farm crops or produce be entered in any fair or show under said farm name, except by the owner of such farm, his tenant, agent, or employee. Nor shall any animal be submitted for registration in any breed registry or to any breed association or society under such farm name, except by the owner of such farm, his tenant, agent, or employee. It's great to have help. Every person knowingly violating the provisions of this section shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, and upon conviction, and a misdemeanor would be criminal misprison, a reason to take it to the prosecutor on a plea of the Crown, guilty of misdemeanor, and upon conviction, therefore, shall be subject to fine not to exceed $100, or to a term in the county jail for not to exceed 30 days, or to both. Such fine and imprisonment in the discretion of the court, in addition to any person violating any the provisions of this section, shall be liable to the owner of the farm name so recorded. Oh, so we got liability for them. We got to go figure out what's going on with this farm, get a copy of the agreement that I agreed to have it registered in the first place, make them produce it on a lawful affidavit under penalty of perjury, or it doesn't exist. And I'm not sure. I'm going to think about this more, but it could be the county treasurer because all these funds are going into the state treasury. Well, it said small s state, and that's should be where I am, and so it should be the county treasurer, which means it should be the county, whoever the commissioner is that has a tie to agriculture, should be the guy for this county. I hope that we all get busy and make some phone calls and rattle their frickin' cages. In fact, for those of you who don't know, and hopefully I'll talk to him soon, he said he's going to call me, Jason got himself out of jail with a handwritten pleas of the crown. Stay tuned for that call. Right now we'll just talk about farms. So this is out of Bouvier. This is what a farm is. It's an estate, a portion or tract of land, some of which is cultivated. It's a frickin' drop of blood on a piece of paper came out of you. In parlance, and for the purpose description of deed, a farm means massage with outbuildings, gardens, and so forth. The land usually occupied by the same for agricultural purposes. But in English law, which is what we're dealing with, and particularly in a description, in a declaration, in ejectment, it denotes a leasehold interest for years in any real property and means anything which is held by a person who stands in relation of tenant to a landlord. It denotes a leasehold interest for years in any real property. It means anything which is held by a tenant to the landlord. So the tenant's holding it. By the conveyance of farm, we'll pass the massage. Okay, we're going to pass the stuff. By a conveyance of the farm. I just think you transfer the rights to your body. Because we're going to do a conveyance. That's what you're doing in that act, is you're conveying something to them in common law because it has you and two witnesses on it. That makes it a common law deed. Deeds are used for conveyances of land and also for contracts. And with 3 seals on it, it makes it lawful in common law. In a will, the word farm may pass a freehold if it appear that such was the intention of the testor. Okay. So again, we've registered a farm. They're calling it a farm. It's an estate. This estate's been set up. Now it's been registered under the name. Because what they do is they create a landed estate. They take a drop of your blood or your foreskin if you're a guy. Who knows what they did? A clump of dirt from the land, whatever it takes to signify a lease. Because a farmer is one who leases a farm. It is said that every leasee for life or years, although it be but a small house and land, is called a farmer. The word implies no mystery except it be that of a hush handman. And that has a that's in the Bible. I know it isn't good. I don't really know a good definition of what it is, but HUSHANDMAN is not a good thing. In common parlance, a farmer is one who cultivates a farm, whether he be the owner of it or not. So they've been cultivating your farm. These farmers have been toiling in your soil, and your soul. And because you've allowed it to be for $1 or 50 cents, whatever it was, registered with the Department of Agriculture as a farm, instead of having all rights, title, and interest, you just now have rights and privileges. But you don't have title and interest. Simply because it's filed. Filed means to be deposited. Deposited means, by definition, if you allow something to be deposited, that the person you've deposited it with now has an equitable mortgage for no other reason than you've agreed to have it deposited, which gives him legal title to the frickin' property. And he's getting the interest. That's the way it works in Michigan. This is for Michigan. I don't know. I hope you guys go look at your own now. Let's find it out and really start asking some real serious questions. See y'all.